session late into the night debating the president's call for martial law.
While most of us have seen plenty of writing on the wall regarding the impending fate of America via Hollywood's predictive programming over the years, even more of us have just a good old deep-seated feeling in the gut that things just aren't quite right about the state of our nation and seem to be getting worse. At the same time, it also just seems like a bad dream that could never actually come true. Today, I'd like to take a moment to point out what a fellow YouTuber discovered that I believe deserves some big attention.
This train is over a mile long.
That could be pointing to just how close we are to seeing things unravel. And I wanted to add some things I noticed that they missed. So I want to thank Tande YouTube channel for uploading some footage from another YouTuber whose channel was apparently already deleted. I won't say the name out loud, but you can see it on your screen now. I never got to see his work, but based on this footage, I can see why he may have been deleted. Now, for those of you who've already been keeping your eye on the movement of our MILITary, sorry guys, I have to spell some things. It just helps my algorithms. You know that seeing heavy equipment in mass isn't new. Considering we are the largest manufacturer and distributor of military weapons in the world, that shouldn't be completely surprising. According to an article in the Business Insider, the U.S. sold to at least 98 countries between 2013 and 2017. So even though we have only 5% of the Earth's population, we sell about 35% of the world's weapons. I think it's also interesting to note that our two largest clients as to who we sold to were ISLAMIC countries. Evident here in a batch of stuff traveling through Georgia around 2012. Oh, isn't it nice? We even paint their little moons on the side. So while we've seen plenty of garb being shipped here in Yon, albeit in increasing numbers over the last 5 to 8 years, there is something very different about this recent batch that came up on YouTube a few days ago. This is very different than any of the others we've ever seen. The other batches typically contain, more old school tanks and older models and trucks and Humvees and this type of thing. But this batch, although it may not look new or much different at first glance, contains some very cutting-edge equipment, and that's what I want to get into a little deeper today. So this that you see here is of equipment traveling through Sacramento County on April 21st, and specifically this was along Roseville Road. Another YouTuber, the Jeff P channel, captured the same huge convoy, and he too said that it was in Roseville, California, with his capture being at 12 p.m. on April 21st, 2019. I wonder if it started its journey on 4/20, the day before. The next day, apparently the convoy was already gone, and according to Jane, it was heading northwest. Now, you might notice right away that these aren't tanks per se, but look to be these. These are IAV Strykers. IAV stands for Interim Armored Vehicle, according to Wikipedia. It comes from a family of 8-wheeled armor fighting vehicles produced by General Dynamics for the U.S. Army. It has a 4-wheel drive that can be switched to all-wheel 8x8 drive, and they're sealed so they can easily be in water up to the tops of their wheels. Now, Wikipedia also states that in 2018, the Army announced that Stryker vehicles would be modified with sensors and weapons, including a high-energy laser. It's called MEHEL, or Directed Energy Weapon. As well, the mods to the Stryker include electronic scanner radar target detectors. It has the capacity for directional RF, or microwave frequencies, as well as EO tracking, which stands for electro-optical sensors, which theoretically could have the capacity to see one's heartbeat as an electrical field. So while I was looking at this train footage, I noticed this vehicle right here. Now, on the topic of directional RF or microwave capacities, if you take a look at this vehicle right here, look at this square here and this overall configuration in front of it. It appears to be in the back corner of it, or about a fourth of the way up forward. Now, to me, this looks a whole lot like this Check this out.
DoD's active denial technology and future solid-state active denial technology system, a smaller scale, more mobile version, is being developed by the U.S. Army and the DoD's non-lethal weapons program, utilizing solid-state technology, which will be an adjunct system that can be installed on a range of tactical or support vehicles. It will have an azimuth drive for full 360-degree coverage, E-steering and azimuth for fine steering control, and full E-steering and elevation. With an invisible beam, speed of light targeting, and silent operation, it can be used in a wide range of operations, such as enhanced combat mobility in dense urban areas.
Dense urban areas? Okay.
Where it quickly and safely moves civilians obstructing vehicle mobility. Or it can be used to safely deter unarmed but suspicious civilians observing U.S. forces.
It could safely deter unarmed but suspicious civilians that are observing U.S. forces. Just observing? That's illegal now? Okay.
At entry control points, it provides an additional layer of response for dealing with potentially threatening targets and potential crowd violence. It can be quickly de-escalated by targeting the leader, or if necessary, by panning across the entire crowd, while armed individuals mixed in a crowd can be engaged without risk to surrounding civilians. Since the beam can penetrate window glass, it can also be used for non-lethal engagement of suspicious vehicles potentially threatening U.S. forces. The SS-80T will be a lightweight, non-kinetic, non-lethal anti-personnel system, providing an alternative to lethal force.
Is that disturbing or what? You can tell from this promo video that they're presenting this technology as though it's safe, when I've shown you already many times in many ways that the millimeter wave is not safe. It just impacts you with neurological issues more slowly and is less obvious, and yet much worse than a bruise left by a rubber bullet. But this seems to be all about cityscape, guys. And I heard the word civilian way more times than I'm comfortable with there. So, alrighty. The other huge red flag about these high-tech vehicles on this train track is the fact that they are not the color of sand, nor of the desert, but they are green, much like our beautiful United States of America. Furthermore, in the Jeffrey video, he stated that he saw many of them marked with red cross signs on them. Now, this video that he uploaded didn't show that, but I managed to find another random upload of the same train. He was just uploaded a couple days ago when it happened. It's the best footage of all, and sure enough, there were red cross signs on several of the strikers. Now, I put this guy's footage at the end of this video so you guys can pause it and look at it more deeply if you like, so you can research this stuff even more than I did. But another thing that I noticed during the train lineup was this vehicle. So I just want you to take a look at, see these curved arms here? This is a frame to hold another piece of equipment. And so when I found this vehicle, to me, it looks like exactly the same frame and function. So see the little arms in front folded down? Now look at this. This is the M1127 reconnaissance vehicle. This says in Wikipedia of this, the RV provides an effective platform for RSTA squadrons and battalion scouts to perform reconnaissance and surveillance operations. It says the platform is a key enabler for these high-tech surveillance and intelligent operations. Well, what do you know? They look exactly the same to me. And of course, the unit that's whatever this surveillance system runs on, the box that would fit inside the arms, would probably be sensitive, I would imagine, and would likely be stored inside the unit for transport. But from the looks of this, most of this equipment is not the same old, same old. It is not normal fare. It is from the newest batch of WAR fare available. It seems not only cutting edge with the latest in directed energy weapons, but again, it's worth noting that according to Wikipedia, and you know, they only tell you the truth, but the Striker is particularly suited for urban areas. Under the mission section of the Striker, it says, Striker units seem to be especially effective in urban areas where vehicles can establish initial security positions near a building and dismount squads on a doorstep. So far, everything I'm finding with these vessels is just as much of a non-lethal civil WAR kind of use than your standard WAR fare. Other tactics that are openly discussed in declassified documents, particularly regarding NL or non-lethal scenarios, are detect, delay, deny, and defeat. And we know that besides these surveillance and microwave vehicles I've shown you that are here now, I would also expect to find vehicles that have the capacity to use EMP type pulses to stop vehicles or whatever kind of electronics they decide to pull the plug on. The military knows well the different frequencies and which communications they could disable. And we know that acoustic methods of manipulation are well fine-tuned at this point, since we used them already so many years ago across the pond where all that sand is. We know that they have become much smaller now. Here's a doc from defense.gov that goes into the capacities of some of these acoustic technologies, and it discusses their ability to present a clear, intelligible voice transmission or warning tones, even with background noise, to a target 1,000 meters away. That's over a half mile away, you guys. So again, this has to go back to that voice of God weaponry that I've proven out in other videos. So yeah, goodness only knows what all these different ones are. But the last Striker that I think I've identified, check this out, is another directed energy weapon, but this time it seems to be a laser. So check out what this man has to say about this during his War Toy Expo.
I'm Kurt Pesch with General Dynamics Land Systems, and this is the Striker Mobile Expeditionary High Energy Laser System. So there's a number of systems that are shown on this vehicle, and essentially the laser is the key piece of equipment that we demonstrated on the vehicle last year, and we're integrating a growth to that system from a 2 kilowatt to a 5 kilowatt system.
So yeah, there you heard the man bragging about his laser and I want you to take a look at this. You can see the laser on the top of this vehicle here, and see that cluster of things over to the left of it on the top. Now I want you to take a look at this train convoy. You see here at the top, same place. It's a little different angle, but from the side and the center, it looks very much to me to be the laser that's pointing forward. And there, again, to the left, you see that same little cluster of whatever those seem to be. When you look at the documentation talking about this one, the info says there are powerful cameras to detect and track targets. So perhaps that little cluster of things are those. But regardless, these lasers have the ability to knock out quadcopters, drones from the sky, etc. And goodness knows what else. Literature states that the MEHEL, or Mobile High Energy Laser, still has a machine gun, but that its main weapon is indeed its laser. So there you have it, guys. I'd love to hear your comments and observations as always. Yeah, this doesn't seem good, but before you do jump to conclusions and assume, like I wanted to, these rigs are only for the good old divided states of America, I would point out that I found this article from the ArmyTimes.com that stated a whole batch of these vehicles would be bought and divided up, with half going to Europe and the other half staying stateside. So yeah, the only thing we know is that can't really know for sure. Regardless of where you live, America, Europe, or anywhere else for that matter, I think it's time to pray without ceasing. I love you guys, and God bless us all.